Love how that lingers. Good morning. Good morning. We were having a wonderful conversation without the coffee today. We have water. Good morning and welcome home. There is in this place the possibility of healing, of repair, of making things right within ourselves, between us and the wider world. We gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.
Good morning, and thank you for joining Wedgwood today. For those of you here with us in person, welcome. And for those who are listening later in the day or later in the week to our live streaming, we are thrilled that you chose to spend some time with Wedgwood Church today. Palm Sunday, a big celebration in the Christian community. We celebrate today. And we will begin with our prelude, which is Hosanna Palm Sunday in the footsteps of Jesus from Jerusalem 2022. Every year on Palm Sunday, they have the parade and they march and walk the same steps that Jesus walked on the Palm Sunday. So we will join them this morning, but this is from 2022. Beautiful, beautiful.
My left hand is dancing.
Good. That music, I love it. It's just absolutely beautiful. And it was nice to join that procession from last year. And now Liz has a few announcements for us.
Yeah, thank you, Melba. Well, spring really is in the air and you feel it. Today is Palm Sunday and next Sunday is Easter. It just is such a time of renewal and rejuvenation, and we're so excited about all the things we have coming up. Next Sunday, this is a message you don't want to miss. The Reverend Dr. Munther Isaac will be sharing, it's a video message on a Palestinian Christian perspective on Easter, which is, I think, a perspective that you don't often hear about. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a really great service.
And he is in Bethlehem. And that's his wife, and they are still there. They have two boys. I actually was able to communicate with him briefly this week. And they believe that pretty soon they're going to be in great danger where they are in the West Bank, that it's just a matter of time. But this is his message from last year at Easter on YouTube, and I think that you're going to really enjoy hearing it. You really don't want to miss it. It's really good.
Awesome. Yeah, so mark your calendars and we'll see you next Sunday.
And it's Hat Day. Don't forget that.
Yes. There's also on the 30th, if you would like to watch the Easter service from Jerusalem, it's going to be online with a liturgy from the Reverend Munther Isaac and Friends of Sabriel. So same person, but I believe this is this is live online. So
and I will send the Zoom link out. I don't have it yet, but I will send the Zoom link out in our newsletter. So watch for that. And this is live. I saw something yesterday. The time had changed, but I think it's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, our time. But I'll let you know. It'll be in our newsletter. I don't want to miss this either.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. All right, so we've had a really wonderful March. Today is Palm Sunday. Next Sunday is Easter. That'll be the final Sunday in March. And then we'll be right into April. So next Sunday, we'll have the full calendar list. We've got some really exciting things planned. And don't forget to wear your hats next Sunday. Our next meeting for the Wedgwood Social Justice Book Club will be Thursday, March 28th. We're reading through page 137. You don't have to necessarily be reading the book to join it. I've heard it's a very lively discussion, but we are reading through that book and discussing the book and learning some context for what's happening right now in Palestine. So if you're interested, please join us. It's on Zoom. Melba,
Social justice is at the heart of Wedgwood, as we all know. I attended the iftar last night at the Islamic Center, and it was wonderful. I remarked the food was just outstanding. And I just remarked how exciting it was to sit at a table with Christians and atheists, Jews, Muslims, two ladies. I do not know what their faith was or if any. We're all at the table together, breaking bread together, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. And it was just a beautiful evening. And let me tell you, the Islamic Center knows how to host an event. They have the greatest hospitality and warmth, and they take good care of you. So I enjoyed that. Also, this week, I attended the meeting of Jewish Voices for Peace, and that was very enlightening. I mostly listen, and it's a very lively activist group, and it's growing very rapidly, and I thoroughly enjoyed their meeting as well.
Wonderful.
Who
Yeah.
was the leader of the Jewish meeting?
You know, they had several. Mitch Bolarg is one. I don't know if you know him, that's helped. Robert Rosenthal helped to get that started. I don't know if you know him, but the majority are very young. They're very young Jews who are just outraged at what's happening. And it was really inspiring to listen to them. Some other social events, justice events we have coming up is tomorrow night, if you can. The Palestinian community will once more go to City Council and ask that they pass that resolution that's passed in other cities calling for a ceasefire. I don't know how many times they've been, and they've refused to even meet with them. So I don't know what's happening, but I plan to go. If you can go, you don't have to speak, just be there with them for support. There is an event coming up this week, policing in black and blue. It is on Zoom, and it will be with Jennings, Dr. Sadler. You may know him. He's an amazing person. And a DC police captain from DC, who's also a minister, I believe, but was at one time the police captain in DC. But if you're interested in that, I will post that on our Facebook page, or you can just email and I'll give you the Zoom link for that. But that's another interest we've all had in keeping our eyes on. Now, an exciting thing coming up. I attended last night the Ramadan festival, and now the Jewish Voices for Peace are planning a liberation Seder. This group, small group, is doing the Seder, working on the Seder, and we're invited. It's April 28th that they're having it. They cannot have it at any of the synagogues because of their stance on anti-Zionism. So they are looking for a place to have it. And I'll keep you updated on that. But I think that's something that would be wonderful to attend, as many of us as can, to support that group of young people. And then if you're interested in going to DC, the Christians are marching on April 8th and 9th. If you want information on that, let me know. So it's interesting. It looks like a lot of voices are joining together on this whole situation. So that's very exciting.
Awesome. Yes, a lot of really exciting things coming up in the community, but also and here at Wedgwood. On Sunday, April 14th, instead of having a regular Sunday service, we will be working with the Current Initiatives on their next laundry project. Corey from Current Initiatives spoke a few weeks ago, and we're very excited to sponsor this event with them. We'll have more information forthcoming as far as the location, but if you're interested in volunteering, even if it's just for an hour or two, we'd love to have you. This is a wonderful project that provides free laundry services for the community at a laundromat, and it's so needed and so important. So mark your calendars and come out and join us. And then also mark your calendars for Sunday, May 5th, the first Sunday of every May. We have our homecoming, and we're going to be having it at a fabulous restaurant in Plaza Midwell. We'll share more information about that momentarily, but that'll be at 11 a.m. If you know you're able to come, please let us know. We want to make sure that we have a rough head count so we have enough tables set aside. But the restaurant is very excited to have us. So if you know you're going to go, and you're welcome to bring guests, just let us know how
Yes.
many you're bringing. And then on Sunday, June 9th, we have the Wedgwood Social Justice Film Festival. Hopefully the first of many film festivals down the line, but this year we're going to be focusing on Palestine because this is an issue that's very near and dear to our hearts. And we'll have more information about that. And we need lots of volunteers, lots and lots of volunteers for all the things we have going on. So a little bit more information about this of the project. We're not going to have a regular service that Sunday, but we are going to have lunch afterwards. So if it's from 10 to 1, so we'll all work hard and then go have some lunch and fellowship and friendship with each other. But it's a really powerful project. I've seen Corey do many of these, and the community impact is just so incredible.
Can I add, if you can't attend and you want to provide some supplies with laundry
Yeah.
detergent, softener, all those kinds of things, you can just let me know and drop them off at my house, or I'll meet you somewhere to get them. And if you want to support this financially, you can't attend, just give as you always do and indicate that it is for the laundry project. That would help to offset the cost as well.
Yeah.
Will you put the address in the newsletter?
Which address for the actual location of the
Yeah,
day?
where we meet.
We don't have it yet.
Okay.
When we get that, we'll put it out. And homecoming is going to be at La Autentica on Central Avenue. We're so they're really excited to have us, and it works out that it's Cinco de Mayo. So we thought, yeah, let's have a party and celebrate Wedgwood and celebrate this holiday together, and enjoy some really delicious Mexican food. I forgot that I'd actually eaten there before, and the food is so delicious.
Yes.
And there's plenty of parking, which is, a premium in Plaza Midwood. So if you're coming, please let us know. There you can just let us know you're coming, or you can also RSVP on Facebook. You can also RSVP on our meetup group. There's lots of different ways to RSVP, but all the information is in our newsletters and on our website. And the Wedgwood Social Justice Film Festival is going to be Sunday, June 9th at the Independent Picture House. I'm kind of leading the charge on that, but I'd like a committee to help kind of pick out some of the films. We're going to be showing possibly 3 to 4 films on Sunday at the Independent Picture House. And if you're interested in joining the committee, please let me know. I'm going to send some information out this week to as far as when we have our first meeting. I'm going to have homework for folks, looking at some screening, sharing some ideas. So if you're interested in joining, let me know, or just let the church know, and we'll get you situated. And membership, we are in such an exciting time in the life of Wedgwood. And in order to have everyone has a seat at the table, but if you want to have a voice at the table, it's really important that you join. Awesome. Thank you, Ashanti. It's really important that you join Wedgwood, because that's when we have a lot of things we're voting on. Recently we took a vote on updating our core values and principles. That was a big deal. And we've got a lot of things coming up. So if you want your voice heard, join Wedgwood. We'd love to have you. And connect with us. We are on Instagram. We have a website and newsletter. You can email us. Most people know about our Facebook group that's very active, but we also ask that you please, please, please like and follow our Facebook business page as well. We need a certain number of followers in order to do some things with that page, especially in terms of advertising and just the way the algorithm works with our reach. So if you could please like and follow our Wedgwood Community Church business page as well. I'll often use that page to post things in the Facebook group to kind of help people find it. But if you could like and follow that page and encourage other people to do so, that would be a huge, huge help. And feel free to contact us if you need anything at all. Wedgwood has 4 part-time staff who are here to help. Melba, myself, Ashanti, and Ryan are here to help you with whatever you need. And as we have so many exciting things happening at Wedgwood, we ask that you consider helping support us financially. And there's a few different ways to do that. You can mail your donations to our P.O. box. You can give via Venmo, PayPal, or Zelle. And you can give to our general fund, but also if you're interested in supporting things like the laundry project or the film festival, you can also denote that as well, because those things cost money, but we also feel so strongly about really walking our talk and doing what we say and living out our beliefs. And so your support is greatly appreciated in that. Thank you very much.
And now Tomas has our extravagant welcome.
We are all welcome here.
Welcome to a church that works for
Works
peace,
for peace, justice, equality.
and the care of Mother Earth.
We are all welcome here.
here.
An extravagant welcome to you because of your gender identification, sexual orientation, ethnicity, economic situation, physical and mental challenges, doubting or believing, being depressed or full of joy.
We are all welcome here.
We are a community of curious and creative spiritual seekers, striving to learn from and embody the way of servant leadership.
We
We are all
welcome
welcome
here.
here.
We focus on the plundered and the marginalized as we try to address the major issues of our day.
We are
We
all
are all welcome here.
Here.
One of the ways we seek to heal the world and ourselves is through sharing parts of our personal story.
We
are
all
welcome here.
Here.
Thank you. Yes, we are all welcome here. And now we come to a time of celebrations and concerns. Laura is not with us today. Her situation continues. She says that her ex-husband, father of her children, is really, really in bad shape. But he is still with us. So she asked for us to please remember her and her family. And I want to share with you that last night at the Ramadan event, a Palestinian woman came over to me and said, I just want you to know that your church, you're heroes to us. We will never forget the people who stood beside us and supported us. So I wanted to share that with you this morning. And I assured her that we will continue to stand with them. We will do all we can to support them, and that we will be remembering them in our thoughts and prayers and meditations. But to be described as a church of heroes, it warmed my heart, because to me, what else would I do? I mean, I don't feel like I'm doing anything heroic, and I know you don't either. I feel like we're doing what's right. But I wanted to share that, and let's continue to remember that horrible situation there.
Yes.
Any others, celebrations or concerns?
Well, we're celebrating Thomas back at home.
Yeah.
Thomas had a really bad fall, and we were on the meeting when he did, and I had to leave really quickly, but he is getting better. Tom, do you want to say something, or I don't want to, tell your story?
Yeah, I'm happy to be alive.
Yeah.
It's
Here too.
better than the alternatives.
We're so glad you're okay, Thomas.
Thank you.
Yes.
We're happy to have Tom back, and he's looking good. He's feeling good. He's sounding better, and
I heard he's eating well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I went over there yesterday, and I made him a crock pot of beef stew. Is it still on, Tom?
No, I put it up. It got done.
Okay, okay. So that got done, and I made him some. He wanted some kielbasa, some peppers and onions, so I made that with some rice pilaf that you can heat up, later on. And got him a lot of fruit. Got him some raspberry. I introduced him to some raspberries and bananas when he was at the hospital, and he really liked those. So I said, okay. So I brought him some more raspberries. He said, I think I like raspberries now. So I got some more raspberries for him, and make sure you got enough water. I'm gonna bring some more water to you. And just Tom's my friend, and when your friends need you, you're supposed to be there no matter what, no matter what, no matter what. Even if you have to rearrange your life or whatever, you're just supposed to be there when someone is in need. And I'm the kind of person that does that for anybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ashanti.
So
We all know who to call now when we get sick.
Yes, call me. Just call me.
Or if we don't feel like cooking.
Listen. I help you out. I'll help you out.
Thank you so much, Ashanti, and welcome back, Thomas.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any others?
I'm thankful to make it around the sun another year, for my birthday, and Liz had a birthday too. So I'm thankful every day. I'm grateful every day, not just on my birthday, every day. I'm grateful. And I'm thankful that we got a lot of things going on, Liz, in the community, and the spring's coming, and that's exciting, to get out and do some things with the people.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, in the spirit of Wedgwood, we'll have a moment of silence for you to use as you choose as prayer time, meditation time, time to self-reflect, or time just to say goodbye to this past week and get ready to start another.
Right.
Amen.
Amen.
And now Liz will share our words of wisdom with us from the First Nation version of the New Testament.
This is Matthew 21, verses 8 through 10. From the large crowd, many began to cut branches from nearby trees and spread their outer garments on the road in front of him. The crowd circled around him and began to shout, "Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes representing the Great Spirit." The humble chief did not fit their image of a conquering ruler. Instead of a war horse, he rode a donkey colt. No mighty warriors rode next to him. No dignitaries came out to meet him. It was mostly the common people who welcomed him on that day. And when he rode through the gate entering the village of peace, Jerusalem, the whole village was in an uproar.
Thank you. The title today is Marching in the Wrong Parade. I love a parade. I am one of those people that on Thanksgiving morning sits by the TV and hunts for all the parades, and especially that Macy's Day Parade and the big balloons. I just love a parade, whether it's a small town parade, big parade. Parades are always fun. This parade we're talking about today wasn't the largest or the most spectacular parade in town, but it's a very fascinating parade with a very fascinating story. Back then, Jerusalem was a destination hotspot. It was a tourist town. The city's population swelled from 40,000 to 200,000 during the holidays and Passover. This particular day, there were two processions coming into Jerusalem on what we call Palm Sunday. One we know well, and we commemorate today with the prelude this morning, the waving of the palm branches, and a peasant riding a donkey, accompanied by peasant followers, coming from the north into Jerusalem. Also entering Jerusalem on this same day from the west was the Roman governor Pontius Pilate. Like the Roman governors of Judea before him, he lived in Caesarea by the sea. In other words, I like to say Pilate spent most of his time at his beach home. But with crowds of devout Jews flowing into Jerusalem to commemorate their freedom from Egypt, he wanted to be there to show a display of force. He wanted to deter the Jews from getting too exuberant about liberation. His procession was a visible manifestation of Emperor Roman power. Once a year, he moved his headquarters to Jerusalem in a show of strength, designed to put fear in people and prevent any outbreaks of insurgency. Now, you've seen in movies when you hear the army coming and marching and the sounds that it makes. I can imagine that day, what it sounded like with that mighty army coming into Jerusalem. The horses, the foot soldiers, the armor, the helmets, the leather bridles, and they had golden eagles mounted on poles that glistened in the sun. The sound of the marching feet and the beating of the drums would have had a sobering effect of all of those who saw and heard this parade. No shouts of Hosanna as he rode astride his big horse. All he wanted was to strike fear into the onlookers. And he knew that he had several battalions of Rome's finest military on the west side if things got out of hand and he needed to call them out. Now, Mark tells us that Jesus' procession into Jerusalem was not a spontaneous slapdash spur of the moment event. We're told more about the preparation for the entrance than we are about the entrance itself. It would seem that Jesus wanted intentionally to set himself in stark contrast with the other procession on the other side of town. It was a sort of counter procession. Two disciples were given the job of acquiring a colt to go to the entrance of a village that they would see an animal tied up, to untie the donkey and bring it back. And if anyone questions their actions, they're to offer the strange explanation that the master has need of it. And by the way, it is noted that the animal had never been ridden before. The disciples do as they're told. They find the colt, and they are questioned, and they bring the colt back. And they lay their cloaks on the colt, and Jesus is set upon it and rides into Jerusalem. The people spread their cloaks on the road, and some lay leafy branches, and some waved branches. This was customary there. The way they welcomed home military heroes was with the branches. But Jesus was not just some political rabble-rouser. He was known to be, or reinterpreted to be, the longed-for Messiah. What a day that must have been with those two parades. So what are we as 21st century people to do with Palm Sunday? Well, it seems to me that no matter how you look at this story of the amazing processions into Jerusalem, you can't help but see that we are offered two choices. A choice between two parades. The attraction of the power and might of Pilate's military parade with all of its glory and wonder and noise and drums and sound, it's still there tempting us. The temptation to use force and violence, military might, nuclear deterrent, shock and awe. Oh, it's still marching its way into the hearts and minds of so many people today. There are times that I have found myself in the wrong parade, and I'm sure you have too. I especially think of the Middle East this morning. I knew very little about the Middle East, never took a course in the history of that area, knew very little about Palestine except that what I had heard in Sunday school as a child. But I, like so many others, had taken the word of some charismatic preachers and leaders who were often influenced by money and power. And once I began to read and study, I found I was in the wrong parade. And I needed to get out of that parade and join a different parade. I also think of people like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and others. Oh, they were considered to be violent terrorists. And many people were in that parade. Many unknowingly in the wrong parade. But thank goodness so many learned and got out of that parade and into a parade to fight for justice and equality. We've even heard stories of Klan members who left the Klan and realized they were in the wrong parade. Daryl Davis is a blues musician. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or not, but he has an interesting hobby. For the past 30 years, Davis, a Black man, has spent time befriending members of the KKK. He says once the friendship blossoms, the Klansmen realize that their hate may just be misguided. Since Davis started talking to these members, he says that 200 Klansmen have given up their robes. He collects those robes to remind him of the small dent he has made in racism by simply sitting down and having dinner together. The people who protested Vietnam, I remember how John Kerry and Jane Fonda and others were hated and despised. But now, long past and in hindsight, were they really in the wrong parade? Or were many of us? The fight for equality and justice in the LGBT community is another parade that I believe many people were in, but with time and a greater understanding of each other and our communities, many people have joined the parade for all people to have justice and equality, regardless of who you are or who you love. Another one. Many of us grew up in very conservative churches. We feel traumatized from that experience. We got out of that parade. But look at us here today. We're in a different parade. The list is endless. I could go on, and so could you. But thank goodness that there were people who had the courage to get out of one parade and join another. People who realized I'm marching in the wrong parade. And thank goodness there was someone or something that showed them the way. And you know, often getting out of one parade and getting in another may mean offending family members and friends. So for a lot of people, it takes a lot of courage. I know that we all get discouraged. And we sometimes just want to quit, but we can't. We must continue the fight. We must work to show more people the way to a more just world. This is a very tenuous and dangerous year for our country, and in fact, for the world. This is not the time to sit on the sidelines. We've got to join a parade. And as we decide which parades we're going to join, we need to remember what the person we honor today said is the greatest of these: love. Look at the parade you're in and think, is this parade about love? The pathway to glory still beckons. Power and might and greed and violence, they attract a lot more attention and more converts than the path less traveled. Jesus versus Pilate, the nonviolence versus the violence. 2 arrivals, 2 entrances, 2 processions. The world is full of parades, or as we might say, bandwagons. And sometimes it's difficult to know which parade to join, which bandwagon to hop on. And it's so tempting to get on in the wrong parade, and so hard sometimes to get out. It's so easy to get caught up in the enthusiasm of the crowds and join the processions that have the star power, the famous people, the loudest brass bands, the most elaborate floats, lots of charismatic leaders. And it's easy to miss that counter procession on the other side of town. But go back to that word, love. It's the parade about love. In our last business meeting, we decided to refer to ourselves as servant leaders. And I'm so excited about that. I think it was really the right decision. Power does not come from domination or oppression, but it flows from love and service. Leadership requires servanthood and grace. Peace must be won without a sword. When Pilate processed into town with a showcase of intimidating muscle and glistening armor on a noble steed, Jesus processed unarmed, unflanked, on the back of a borrowed burro. This day reminds me of how easily we can get distracted and fooled by fancier parades and promises. If we are in the wrong parade today, I pray that we all have the courage to look at love and look at the parades we're in through the eyes of love, and be sure that we are in the right parade for freedom and justice for all people. And even when our voices shake, may we have the courage to speak up for one another and to one another, and expose the evils of the world as we fight for justice and equality. Thank you. And
Thank
we're
you,
open
Melba.
for discussion or thoughts or stories about parades.
You're right, Melba. There's a lot of parades that we can choose from, and it's like in everyday life, there's parades or bandwagons we should or should not be on. Um, and Wedgwood, I think, is a good bandwagon to be on.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no mistake there, really.
And I love that you touched on, sometimes it takes time for us to open our eyes to realize which parade we're in. And there's always opportunity to say, you know what, I've learned better. I need to join a different parade.
And sometimes it means offending family or
Yeah.
friends.
And sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes you're the only one
Yes.
walking in the parade.
And sometimes it's dangerous. So
Yeah.
I think we are privileged and take for advantage that we can join a parade and come home and have dinner afterwards. But when we look around the world, when you look at Russia, what the Russian population did in the election, knowing that they were probably going to get arrested and maybe sent to a prison camp for just showing up, or you look at Charlottesville and the other side of the parade were violent neo-Nazis. For the most part, we don't face that currently, but we may face that. We may face that this year. And so we have to know that it's not risk-free, and to take it very seriously, because you never know when your parade is going to be subject to a violent attack. And I think come late fall this year, I think those are going to be some choices that we'll have to make.
You know, last night at the Ramadan, they had a police officer guard at the door, and they had one inside where the meal was being served. And I just thought, what a world we live in.
Well, and yesterday's my friends of the Gender Education Network, they had an event at I believe it was a UU church and on private property, and they had to call the police because 11 protesters came.
Oh, oh,
Just ridiculous.
it is. I saw something on Facebook yesterday and it said, God, forgive me for the times I asked you to give me a seat at a table that I had no business sitting at.
Ooh,
And I thought we could
yeah,
say parade for the times I wanted to be in the parade. I wanted to be in with these people. I thought they were so cool.
right.
Forgive me for wanting to be in their parade. I was wrong. And I just thought that was an interesting way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Some tables we don't need to sit at.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't realize it till you're at the table, you're tasting the meal, you're with the people, and you're in the conversation. Wait a minute, this conversation's not right. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes you don't know until you're in it. But it's a blessing to realize, like, wait a minute, I think I wasn't supposed to be at this table. I went to the wrong room. Yeah.
Also, from a national perspective, it's almost an oxymoron that our country, the United States, provides weapons to Israel, but yet we're saying we're supporting the Pakistans, and they're using the weapons that we provide to kill innocent people. And so I'm real seriously bothered by that. And yes, Melba, I'm from a little country town in southern Delaware. We love parades. I was a majorette, but I have found myself in situations as I've journeyed through this life from college that I thought I had to be in every parade for the greater good. And I realized it wasn't for the greater good. And as Shirley Chisholm said, if they don't invite you to the table, bring a folding chair. I used to bring many folding chairs, but I take my folding chairs from several tables. So I don't know whether you understand me. My voice is still kind of.
Yes, we do.
Oh, we can understand you. It
Oh,
sounds
yes.
fine. I like that. There's a movie about Shirley Chisholm on Netflix. I'm gonna check that out. Yeah,
Just came out.
yeah, it just came out. Regina King is Shirley Chisholm.
Oh,
Well, we'll turn it over to Ashanti.
Oh man, a lot going on.
well, I want to thank Melba.
Yeah,
That was excellent. Well said. Well said.
Thank you. Thank you.
and Melba's out there in the forefront all the time. She
I
is
try to be.
in the forefront, in the trenches, all the time. All
Yeah,
the
we're
time.
well represented. We've got people
Yeah.
everywhere. It's just awesome to see.
She'll
It
be
is.
out
It
there
is.
You know how the song it says dancing in the streets? Melba's out there screaming in the streets. Go ahead, Melba. Nothing wrong
Thank
with that.
you.
We need powerful women like you. And this song, Change.
Perfect.
We extinguish this flame, but we keep the light in our hearts with this message of love and justice and taking it outside of these walls into the world in which we live in until we see each other again. Amen. Ashe, and may it be so. Now go in peace.